on the dais, legal luminaries, young graduates, and esteemed guests. Welcome to the book review of a work that promises to be a game changer for the next generation of legal professionals, The Unwritten Conundrum, Cracking an Implicit Code. We are here to celebrate a work aimed at bridging the massive gap between academic knowledge and the essential unwritten realities of court practice. To formally commence our proceedings and to set the tone for the significant event, I invite Advocate Johnson Gomez, sir, President of the Project Complete Lawyer Foundation, to deliver the welcome address.
Respected Dr. Saroja Bhaskar, President of this meeting, Honorable Justice A.M. Muhamed Mustaque, Judge, High Court of Kerala, who will review our book, and my young co-authors Naomi and Abhinav, Bindu Sharif, the Vice President of Project Complete Lawyer Foundation, and Mr. Arun Johnny, the Treasurer of Project Complete Lawyer, who will introduce this book to you. I stand before you with a lot of happiness because today we are scripting a document which would help assist training of law students to prepare themselves to become legal professionals. This is a document, we don't claim that it is a very scholarly work or we don't have any such claims regarding these contents of this book. This book is primarily a book which contains experiences, thoughts, and deliberations of people who have walked before us. Primarily, 2 or 3 thoughts are the basis of this book. One is that if a person is going to practice law, he needs to know about the institutions in which he will be practicing. It is like gaining a skill that we should look at legal practice. If suppose somebody wants to ride a cycle, he needs to know more and more about that particular cycle before the actual attempt to ride the cycle. Likewise, we were looking at an institution like the High Court of Kerala, and we were trying to decode its jurisdiction, we were trying to decode its practices, procedures, and make it easy for a law student. Basically, this book is something like a demystifying effort done by 2 young interns and with somebody with a mentor's reflection. And it also consists of a playbook. It works as a playbook for interns who wish to practice in the High Court. It contains a part where we have discussed about remote internship. Somebody is not able to come to the High Court. Still he can or she can understand how the High Court functions. And this is a very basic document based on which Project Complete Lawyer will definitely be working on in its mission forward, where we will be actually doing research and come out with better research papers as to how the legal justice needs of this country can be better addressed. We have some 1.4 billion population. Professor Menon, who is the guiding force of this book, once said 1.3 billion population. It was only 1.3 when he spoke about it. When I speak about it, it is 1.4. 1.3 billion population, 20,000 judges, 10 lakhs of lawyers, some mathematics he was explaining. And he said that in a country with half the population does not know why these courts are functioning. Had these people also knew why these courts are functioning, and these courts are functioning for finding remedies or finding rights. Had they knew about their rights and come to court, we would have had a very, very, very bad situation. And he was happy that half the population did not know as to why these courts are actually functioning. That is the words of Professor Menon during one of our program itself. Well, when we had a arbitration training program in Bolgati. So at the same time, we have a scenario where we have plenty of law colleges producing a lot of law students, and they cannot enter into the field of practice, where we need to cater 1.4 billion, and our constitution says that we will render justice to all 1.4 billion, and this justice will have to be delivered by the lawyers, and the lawyer cannot actually enter into the legal profession. There is a bottleneck. He requires the assistance of a relative to sustain in profession, and if such a scenario continues, I think that our constitutional mechanism itself would break down. Therefore, Project Complete Lawyer is conceived based on these teachings of Professor Menon. He said that in the law college, I mentioned in the law college event also, in the law college you are not expected to teach the law students law, but you should help them find the law. And he says that once they have found the law, let them be assisted in interpreting the law, and let us teach the law students the skills needed for practicing the law, and let us train them, and let us enable them to get a lot of clients. Basically, we work on these 4 principles, and this book also, in one way or the other, talks about these 4 principles. And here I stand before you to welcome Dr. Saroja Bhaskar. She is my teacher in the Government Law College at Trivandrum, and we travelled together just because of Professor Menon, because she was also a student of Professor Menon, and we met along with him. Mr. Arun Johnny, he is a product of Project Complete Lawyer. We had a 1-year training program, and I handpicked this gentleman living in a remote place in Idiki, and he is practicing with us. Now he has crossed 3 years. If you want to test whether Project Complete Lawyer was a success or not, look at that man's presentation. I think that's a huge burden now that I have cast upon him to perform. And the chief guest of this event, this is Mustaque sir. He always traveled with us from 2016. And on one occasion, I was standing simply near his chamber complex, and he said that this Saturday I will not be available for any of your programs. That is what he told me, because we used to disturb him for every other program, and he was kind enough to be with us. Advocate Varsha is part of Law and Justice Research Foundation, with whom we were working together. For an internship, we had a 7-week internship on real estate law, and I used to say that this was the worst internship that I have ever done in my life. And we came to the conclusion, and that was the final session where the students was to make their presentations, and all of them has performed so well that we could not find a best intern, because there were many good presentations, and therefore instead of one best intern, we have selected 3 or 4. So that was the nature of internship that we had. Thank you, Varsha, for coordinating this particular event. And Naomi and Abhinav, and especially I spoke about Naomi. She comes from a family of doctors, and all of them you can see in this room. And she could only choose the organ in which she should be specializing. Otherwise, she should have become a lawyer. And interestingly, she broke the family tradition and became a come to our path. And she has encouraged me in writing this book because this request was made. Can you do something on the High Court of Kerala? We have a project, and she was the only person who has readily come. Many have come before, and many have come later, but nobody took the risk of studying the High Court as they have done and document it in the form of a book that is being reviewed here. Bindu Sherry, she is also from alumni of Government Law College, Trivandrum, where I have studied. And we, along with Sherry Cherian, who is also here, secretary, we have formed this organization because we are a very, very, very small group. This is a small thought that is we are working on. We believe that moving forward, this organization has a relevance in this country, and many will join force to the mission that we are working on. And I welcome the parents of Abhinav and Naomi, who have travelled from Palakkad and Trivandrum to grace this occasion, and we believe that they will become wonderful lawyers in the days to come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now seek the wisdom and guidance of our elder from the academic community. I invite Dr. Saroja Bhaskar ma'am, former Principal of Government Law College, Ernakulam, to deliver the presidential address.
Good afternoon, everybody. Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, Honorable Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir, Advocate Johnson Gomez, Advocate Arun Johnny, Advocate Vasha, Advocate Bindu Sherry, student recipients of the Merit Certificate of the Real Estate Internship conducted by Project Complete Lawyering, and also the authors of this great book, Naomi and Abhinav. Respected audience, advocates, my dear friends, and my dear students. I'm really grateful and privileged to Advocate Johnson Gomez on behalf of Project Complete Lawyering, Ernakulam, in inviting me on this special occasion of this book review, The Unwritten Conundrum, Cracking an Implicit Code. I also take this opportunity to congratulate Naomi and Abhinav Rohan for taking their internship very seriously. See, I want to congratulate them because they have taken their internship very seriously in the sense that they have been guided to bring out a book, and actually this is a guide to the future interns. I would like to say a few words about Advocate Johnson Gomez. See, way back in 1985, a fresh pass out after my LLM, I started my practice in Kollam with my late father, Advocate K. Ananda Shivam. I got the offer at that time to teach as guest lecturer for the 5-year students of Law College Trivandrum. And Advocate Johnson and Ajit Joy sitting at the back, they were my first batch of students. And the interesting part I would like to share is that both his sons, Sanjay and Sanjit, they were also my students during my tenure in Thrissur Law College and Ernakulam Law Colleges. And I had the fortune, that is, even after my retirement, I could associate with them through the legendary, the visionary in legal education, the one and only Dr. N.R. Madhav Menon. So you are actually aware of the background. I am invited here. I take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to Honorable Justice Mustaque sir for his innumerable judgments, where he had meticulously applied his mind very intelligently and such that a broader view is taken. And in many cases, he has vociferously advocated for the promotion of arbitration and mediation. Thank you, sir. Actually, we got acquainted with Mustaque sir first time when we organized a arbitration mediation international seminar in Bolgati, as suggested. It was given in the welcome speech by Advocate Johnson. At that time itself, he has been a part of this firm promoting arbitration and mediation. So I thank you, sir, for being a part of our journey from the beginning. Now coming to a review of the book. See, all of us, some decades back, a majority, a couple of years in the past, have empathized with the vivid and cogent words of the authors in recalling our own days when, with starry-eyed wonder, we gazed at the hallowed and often daunting building of the High Court. We were wonderstruck and bemused at the mighty edifice of the state's highest judiciary. All of us undoubtedly still carry within our minds the awed feelings as we enter the portals of the High Court, tentatively and laced with trepidation. These memories remain among our most treasured ones. The authors have dexterously intertwined imagination with fact in narrating their experiences and their thoughts in this book, which makes for compelling and absorbing reading. The youthful approach is so refreshingly different from the staid interpretation of older people's interaction of the same encounter. This compact book is replete with facts, suggestions, and tips for not only a rookie budding lawyer, but also for grizzled and veteran practitioners of law like me. It renews our perception and also perspectives about the majesty and dignity of the High Court, which is for all of us the pinnacle and epitome of justice at the state level. An eminently readable book. I commend the authors for this brilliant piece of work and wish the book and versatile authors all the best. One more thing I would like to express in this occasion is that this book, I think, will have a sequel by the new interns with a fresh and a different tone or a higher graded writing by the original authors themselves. So thank you once again for inviting me. I wish this book will carry forward as a guide to the future interns. Thank you.
Now, the moment has arrived to hear more about the implicit code itself, to officially introduce the book, The Unwritten Conundrum, Cracking an Implicit Code, and highlight its essence. I invite Advocate Arun Joni, Treasurer of the Project Complete Lawyer Foundation.
Honorable Justice A. Muhamed Mustaque sir, respected seniors of the bar, distinguished guests, esteemed faculty members, and my dear friends. With your permission, I propose to briefly introduce the book, The Unwritten Conundrum, Cracking an Implicit Code. This book is not a conventional legal text. It does not attempt to restate doctrine or any analyze precedents. Instead, it addresses a quieter but more persistent gap in legal education. The gap between what we learn in the classrooms and what we encounter when we first step into the court of law. At its core, the Unwritten Conundrum documents the journey of two law students entering the Kerala High Court for their internship. What begins as uncertainty gradually evolves into the understanding through structured observation, mentorship, and reflection. The book captures the rhythm of the court, its procedures, its digital framework, and its traditions, and the human ecosystem that sustains it. These are aspects every young lawyer encounters, yet very few ever taught explicitly. The intellectual foundation of this work is deeply influenced by the educational philosophy of Padma Bhushan Professor N.M. Madhav sir, who consistently emphasized that legal education must move beyond memorization and cultivate institutional understanding through experience. This book is a practical expression of that philosophy. It treats the court not merely as a forum of adjudication, but as a living institution that educates those willing to observe it carefully. The role of mentorship is central to this narrative. Under the guidance of Advocate Johnson Gomez, the authors learn how to look beyond the appearances, to observe not just hearings, but the processes, not just arguments, but the system. The mentor's reflection in the book provide structure and context, ensuring that the students' experiences mature into sight rather than remain anecdotal. If I may add a personal word, it is perhaps this aspect that makes the book especially meaningful to me. Coming from a background where exposure to courts was very limited and entering the legal world with more questions than clarity, I encountered the same uncertainty that this book describes. It was solely through experimental learning, particularly under the Project Complete Lawyer program inspired by Professor Minot, and through mentorship, and the court began to make sense as an institution. In that sense, the book mirrors a journey that many young lawyers quietly undergo. The Unwritten Conundrum therefore serves a specific purpose. It does not claim to teach the law. It helps young lawyers and students understand the environment in which law operates. For those preparing internships, or for those beginning practice, and for institutions concerned with strengthening experimental legal education, this book offers a grounded and an honest starting point. I submit that the value of this work lies precisely in its restraint. It explains without exaggerations, guides without prescribing, and prepares without overwhelming. In doing so, it makes a meaningful contribution to the contemporary legal education. With the brief remarks, I place the book before this distinguished gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Arun. We now move on to the highlight of our program. We are profoundly honored to have with us one of the most respected figures in our judiciary, someone whose judicial pronouncements embody clarity and justice. It is my distinct privilege to invite His Lordship Honorable Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir to deliver the book review and the special address.
I will join with my duties, and I don't propose to have a review of this book. But when I read this book, I see there are a lot of excitement to seeing things in a different way, which normally we believe it's a small affair for us. Like a passenger who first time he travels in a flight. When you get into the airport, you have a lot of dilemma. You're stuck with many things. Where to go, whom to pick, etc. So youngsters have same feelings now when they came to the High Court and they're seeing things in edifice and all. Because all this remain like a bulwark for them. They want to see that how things work practically. This is exactly the problem with our education, rather than anything like go with legal profession, and as such we now see. Professor Madhav Menon pioneered legal education. I think later, perhaps I believe certain part of time, he might have regretted not including clinical education as part of curriculum. And the latter part of his life he was quite watery in promoting clinical legal education. What we learn today is a constitution, not the constitutional principles. What we learn transfer in the law schools are transfer of property, not the principles of properties. What we learn in the schools and all the jurisprudence, not that application part of it, for which we need the philosophy of education. So no one is crafted from the law schools. but they learn the law. But when you look at them come to the practice, they say different things. They go to an appeal before a quasi-judicial authority, they know they need to have a different approach. When they come to the court, they need to have a different approach. So complete lack of professionalism is seen in every walk of life. When I say so, simple thing now, if you look at the World Justice Project report in 2023 and 25, it says that in 70% of the country, the 60% of the people do not have access to justice. But still, people say that it's quite struggle with our work, and they are not able to get the means to the sustain. Who has to provide for you? Now, how do you understand the issues and what exists in the society and by and large in the legal market? Again, I say it's perhaps attributable to the legal education system now we followed in the country. It doesn't cater to the needs of the market. That's exactly my point. And that exactly the youngsters now find. They see the building, they see the kind of procedure, they see all those things. It's for them quite fascinating, but in practical reality, they also find how to reach a particular level. The two things essentially we are lacking in this is one, the system legal education now being followed. I know that many places they teach BNSs. My son is also a student of law. I said, what subject you are now? I said, BNSs. I said, why should he be in the BNSs? I don't understand. You need to know that these are like criminal justice system. This works with the procedure, BNS. There is an evidence system. Barely need to know. But why should you read every aspect of it? Because you are not making a competent lawyer through the legal educations. His aptitude level is not enhanced. Same thing. I learned labor law. What is the purpose of learning a labor law in law schools? Absolutely no purpose. If you are a competent lawyer, your aptitude has developed in such level, you will find out what is the labor law, what are the issues. There is absolutely no place in our legal education, our clinical approach to the issue. After completing a foundational level of courses, 1 or 2 years, understanding general principles of law, how the system works, how through the history the law evolved, how the society and how the economic condition of the country, then you take next level to clinical level. That's exactly where we require. We have the best law schools, the best talented youngsters, but they are not being prepared through the law schools. That's a sad part of it. That's exactly the problem. The World Justice Report, if indicates 60 people do not have access to justice, that means they are not able to tap those 60% of the cases, which may require legal assistance in different form. You just go through the World Justice Report of 2023 and 70. So we don't have a outlook how legal profession should evolve with the time. That's exactly the problem with the legal education. Compared to the profession, way back in I think Justice Khanna wrote this book, when he went to the bar in Chandigarh, when he entered into the courtrooms, bar rooms, association room, he sees that very pompous characters. Everybody would like a Louis XIV. No, they would claim that I did something. These are all proclamations by every lawyer. Do you see any places, any association? Take up the issues of, they will say that we want to take up the issues of, what issue are taking up, of the young lawyers? Absolutely zero. Apart from holding an annual day that's the ultimate for a bar association. What are the bar association doing? Of course, I recently saw that Bar Council has come up with a big project. The lawyers continuing education. If that goes well, perhaps can have a big milestone in molding the the future level. What are the bar association otherwise doing? No. There is no mentorship. They don't have an idea how to move the youngsters. Do we expect the judiciary and judges to take up? No, they can't, because we have a minimal role in these things, shaping the legal professions. So youngsters like you have highlighted certain issues. This should go to the academics and the bodies which ultimately decides our curriculum and structuring it. It's exactly what the concerns and what they saw in the courts and what they written in this book all is part of reality. There is no connection between our legal profession, and then the requirement of what requires in the market. I simply say the market, maybe in correct era, it's quite right to say this legal market. There is a potential for us to connect. There is a mismatch between supply and demand. We don't have a right people for right things. When we hold the district judges exams, I know that being in part of the interview board, and when we look at the papers and value it, the competition level is, it's very minimal. Only the competition is among 20, and that to be treated as an average performance. Because we don't want to see that our judicial position, the position of the district judge remain unfilled. We recruit. If you look at the results of the many states in the country, 0 pass. I saw the recently Jharkhand or some other place. There is no one is clearing the judicial exams. And you say that there is no opportunity for the lawyers. You look at the Shetty Commission report. It says that the district judge's salary is fixed, like at par with a civil servant. That means those who get an IAS, who will get that salary after 15 years. And same salary is being paid to a district judge and additional who is directly recruited. Where are the takers? So these are all big challenge we face. The legal system as such face big challenge in different way, and we are not able to respond. Thanks to the efforts being taken by people like Bombas. Actually, this ought to have been taken by the Bar Association or Bar Council and other bodies. We are trying to shape the youngsters in the right paths. If legal profession fails, we fail our country. Especially now we have a foreign lawyers entry in our country. We need to compete with them also. Or many non-litigation practice will go to them. We will realize later. It is true their entry may give us some sort of edge to us, because we also try to compete together at par or at their level. But at the same time, we must say there is a huge potential for non-litigation practices, and we are not able to tap those market, and that's exactly the problem. So when you have written only a book now, because of your at level of you are now all third-year students, right? Yes, the kind of book you have written at this stage is quite amazing. I must appreciate and congratulate you. Amazing work. The next level, you is seeing the profession, and you also need to write about it. How you youngsters see this profession, because all this work is not something which would help any of your the peers or the colleague students, but actually it's an eye-opener for the policy makers. That's what I believe. So it is time for us to connect legal education with the market needs, and that disconnect now exists is create a lot of problem, and it's not good for the countries. We need to have people in the future. We have an AI specialist lawyers, we need the blockchain specialist lawyer, we need all lawyers, we need it. Whatever the technological advancement we make, we may not be able to tap. When I asked one of the vice chancellor, the principal of who they have introduced BTech LLB, they are also struggling to figure out how to fix the syllabus. Ultimately, they end up BTech and law. Of course, different subject will be taught, but they don't know where exactly that to be connected. Nobody have an idea how to connect. The Bar Council might have given approval for BTech LLB, or it is also here in BSc LLB in Cochin University. But they don't know exactly how to connect in science and law. Same also in technology and law, because we never take inputs from those who are really inside of it, and somebody else is structuring our syllabus. So this is all challenges we face. Youngsters like you write this kind of book will be an eye-opener for all of us, and it will give a momentum for this country to shape our legal education. That's what I believe. And kudos to both youngsters. Your master skill writing this book really attach everybody's emotion. It goes with your inside of your mind. I think You wrote from inside of your mind, and what is reflected in this book is narratives of innocent minds. Thank you all. Thanks. God bless you.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for that truly illuminating review and the special address. Your endorsement and critical insight validate the essential message of this work. We will now take a brief pause to recognize the hard work of the promising young minds associated with Project Complete Lawyer. It is our honor to present certificates to our interns in the Best Intern, Merit and Participation categories. We request His Lordship Honorable Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir to kindly present these certificates. Facilitating the segment is Advocate Varsha, Coordinator of the Internship on Real Estate Laws.
Greetings to everyone on and off the dais. It has been my privilege to conduct this internship program conducted by PCL Foundation in association with LJR Voice. First, I invite Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir to do the honors of presenting certificates to the interns. First, let's start with the first category, Certificate of Excellence. 3 of our interns have secured this position. First, I invite Ms. Anita M. Jacob. Mr. Advait K.R. One of our other intern, Aisha Ahmed, had secured the position, but she informed her inability to attend this function. So, congratulations all. Now, moving on to the next category, which is the Certificate of Merit. Again, 3 of our interns have secured this position. I invite Ms. Hiba Hanna to receive her Certificate of Merit. I invite Mr. Joseph Doju to receiving his Certificate of Merit. Other intern Siddharth is also not available today. Congratulations to all the interns.
I invite Varsha to receive the coordinator certificate.
Thank you, Mr. Sir, for honoring the award ceremony. Once again, congratulations to all the interns.
We are now delighted to invite the co-authors of this pivotal work. Their unique perspective as third-year LLB students has been crucial in decoding the system. I invite Ms. Naomi Rohan to share her experiences.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am truly overwhelmed and incredibly honored to be standing here today in the esteemed Kerala High Court. I must begin with gratitude to the Honorable Mr. Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir. Your presence leading this review is the greatest validation of our work. To the PCL Foundation, thank you for this platform. And to Advocate Johnson Gomez sir, you're truly our guardian angel. You took the wild dream of a law student and made it a reality. Nothing would have been possible without your vision. To my support system, my parents, especially my father, for instilling the love of reading that got me here. My family for being the rock that made me believe any dream is possible. And to my partner in this journey, Abhinav, whom I am forever grateful for. He was the constant force pushing for the best, choosing to stay calm when things got chaotic, and proving that the best editing partner is one you can trust completely. And of course, to the Almighty for all the blessings. Now to my brief experience as an author. As the only lawyer in a household of doctors, starting from my grandparents to my sister, choosing this path felt like a baffling leap of faith. It was a jump into a murky whirlpool, but it turned out to be the best decision that I ever took. I always had an affinity for writing, but the dream of publishing a book felt like a distant reality. It took Advocate Johnson sir's brilliant idea, documenting every layer of the High Court into a handy book for the stars to truly align. Abhinav and I went into the internship expecting something conventional, but Sir's project turned us into legal archaeologists. We stopped at every office, researched its legal attributes, and documented our findings into a story that brought life to the High Court's corners. We were unstoppable. We worked in such a way that 100 pages were finished in a jiffy. It was a crazy mix of passion and mental exhaustion. We took turns, one would write the story and the other would keep the editing game strong. It was our own check and balance system. Of course, we hit those infamous writer's block, but nothing could extinguish the fire in us. The real pinch me moment wasn't finishing the draft, it was finally receiving the ISBN number. That's when the dream became a concrete physical reality. From a small idea to this full fledged book, our journey was about seeing the birth of something that is not meant to teach the law but to help you find it. I truly hope everyone who reads the Unwritten Conundrum gets transported into the High Court that we experienced through the eyes of two enthusiastic and slightly overwhelmed third year interns. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Next, I invite Mr. Abhinav, co-author, to share his experiences.
Honorable guest, Chief Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir, respected dignitaries on the dais, learned members of bar and bench, faculty, seniors, friends, and dear guests. I would like to begin my speech with a thought by Aristotle. The law is the reason true from passion. This means that law should be based on rational thinking and fairness, not on emotions, personal bias, or anger, in order to ensure equality and consistency. Good evening to each and everyone. I feel so honored to be part of this book review ceremony in the presence of Honorable Chief Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir and other esteemed dignitaries at the dais. For a law student, sharing the stage with members of the judiciary is both humbling and inspiring. I speak today not as an expert, but purely from a perspective of a student who had the opportunity to be involved in this work and to learn through the process. And before I begin, I would like to thank PCL Foundation for organizing and supporting us to be part of and to share our experience in this spectacular work. The journey begins in July with a sip of coffee on a sultry afternoon at Chennai when we thought about doing an internship which gave birth to a handbook which can be guided to many aspirants, where a 2-second clipping of a glass building is being reflected and explained and in detail and interestingly narrated way. At first, when we went to the High Court, it was a moment filled with wonder and excitement along with a bit of fear, since the institution holds the dignity of the entire judiciary. But at the back of the mind was the thought that Johnson sir gave through his words that don't study law, you just roam around and first get familiarized with the building. You go inside, roam around, you go out, look at the boards and name boards and do a research on it. And even though at first it seemed easy, later turned out to be a task for us. We took note of each and everything that we saw inside and outside High Court, and on that day itself we went to sir and asked millions of doubts that we carried. And his response was, now it's your job to do the research and explain to me what you saw inside. Those moments still gives us goosebumps, and we incorporated what we experienced and researched inside this book with the guidance and strong mentorship of sir and his team. Another part where a mentor's perspective is explained in the book, in the second part of the reading, increases the value of the book and it is worth reading. The co-authorship from my colleague Ms. Naomi Rohan made our work more simpler with her attention towards detailing and language fluency. Constant support and blessings of my parents and brother protected and motivated me throughout this journey. Working on this book was a valuable learning experience for me. It taught me that law is not limited to statutes and judgments. Much of legal understanding comes from observations, how court functions, how procedures are followed, and how discipline and clarity shape judicial work. More than writing, the journey shaped how I look at the legal profession as a discipline that demands responsibility, restraint, and continuous learning. I also thank my family members who are present here for their constant encouragement and support. To conclude, this book may have been partly written by students, but the learning behind it was guided by experience, observation, and mentorship. For me, this journey has been an important step in understanding the law beyond theory. I once again thank Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir for being part of this occasion, and I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to share this experience. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Naomi and Abhinav. Your dedication is an inspiration to all young lawyers. As we near the conclusion of this memorable event, we must formally acknowledge everyone who made this possible. I now invite Advocate Bindu Sharif, President of the Project Complete Lawyer Foundation, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir, distinguished guests, respected dignitaries, dear colleagues and friends, it's my privilege and honor to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Project Complete Lawyers Foundation. At the outset, we express our profound gratitude to Honorable Justice Muhamed Mustaque sir for gracing the occasion and for inspiring address. Your Lordship's presence has truly elevated the event, giving our discussions today a more profound meaning. Our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Saroj Bhaskar, ma'am, former principal of Government Law College, Ernakulam, for the gracious presidential address and words of wisdom. We are also deeply thankful to Advocate Johnson Gomez, our president, for his warm words of welcome, and to Advocate Aaron Johnny for his thoughtful introduction of the book, The Unwritten Conundrum, Cracking an Implicit Code. A special word of appreciation to the young authors, Ms. Naomi Rohan and Mr. Abhinav Anil, for sharing their perspective and creative journey with us. You have indeed made us proud, and many will surely be inspired to follow in your footsteps. The Project Complete Lawyer Foundation will continue to ensure that such aspiring talents receive all the opportunities and encouragement they deserve. We also acknowledge Advocate Vasha, our internship coordinator, for her effort in organizing today's program and the certificate presentation. Finally, we extend our sincere thanks to all the participants, guests, and well-wishers for their gracious presence and support. Your encouragement continues to strengthen our collective vision of nurturing complete lawyer professionals. We look forward to meeting you all in our future initiatives. Thank you all once again. Thank you.